What's good, yo? We back with another video, and we got sad, unfortunate, and surprising news coming out of Cortland in the Bronx. PJ Glizzy, who's been locked up for the last 3 years for the murder of Mass Sav all the way back in 2021, has now been indicted by the feds by himself on this indictment for the murder of Chii back in early 2022. And what that means for PJ Glizzy is, for the last 3 years, he's been fighting this murder case where he's the alleged driver of a dirt bike, and Sugar Hill Mel, who passed away last year, was reportedly the trigger man. Sugar Hill Mel was never taken into custody or charged with this murder, but he did take his life last year. And a lot of people say that the guilt of all these murders that he is allegedly supposed to be a part of, the nickname that he got after he passed away, was John Wick. So a lot of people link his name to a couple unsolved murders that he was never charged with. And like I said, PJ's been in Rikers fighting this murder case for the past couple years, going on 3 years and a couple months. But now he has been transported to federal prison to fight the murder of Wvttz. And for the past 3 years, the murder of Wvttz has been unsolved, and many blocks have been linked to the murder of Chii. Chii passed away in Brooklyn, a couple blocks away from Structure's hood. If you don't know Structure's, been around a lot of DOA's ops, so some people thought they had something to do with it. It was the least likely option or outcome, but nevertheless, they was one of the rumored hoods to be a part of this. And then you got the Jag or Jackson Ave, who was close with some DOA members. That's where the Dougie B line Chii rumors came, because Dougie is close with some of the Jag. And then you got the most notable rumor out there that the Drillies has something to do with it. And with everybody not knowing, a lot of people assumed in the upcoming indictment of a certain block, the Wvttz murder would be a part of that indictment. But PJ Glizzy has now been indicted by himself on this murder. And we're going to go through the indictment, the most important parts of what the feds alleged PJ Glizzy did. On or about February 6, 2022, which is the day Chii passed, as part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the OG's enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, PJ Glizzy, the defendant, and others known and unknown, murdered Chii and aided and abetted the same in the vicinity of Green Avenue and Lewis Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, which is where Chii passed away. And as you could tell, they say others known and unknown, which I don't know if there's more arrests to come, more charges filed, but if they indicted PJ Glizzy by himself and they had 3 years to indict everybody that they think is a part of this murder and they only indicted PJ, I don't know if more arrests are to come. Maybe they know PJ was a part of this murder for the last couple years, but they know he's going to be in jail fighting the murder of Mass Sav, so they wasn't in a rush, and that's why they took forever. But if they took 3 years to charge PJ, there must be some type of evidence where they were able to actually indict him 3 years after the murder. Continued reading, PJ Glizzy caused the death of Chii and aided and abetted the same under circumstances evidence and aided and abetted the same. And then continuing on or about February 6, 2022, PJ Glizzy, defendant, and others known and unknown, for the purpose of gaining entrance to and maintaining an increasing position in the OG's enterprise, an enterprise engaged in racketeering activity as described above, did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree to murder Chii. They're basically crossing their I's, dotting their T's, basically making it known that OG's is a gang and they run like a mafia, or this street gang is running like the mafia, and PJ was catching these murders to try to get better rank in his street organization that they are alleged he's a part of, calling it the OG's enterprise. And then we got the last charge of a firearms use, carrying, and possession, which kind of makes you wonder what PJ's role was in this murder that they're alleging. On or about February 6, 2022, PJ Glizzy, the defendant, during and in relation of a crime of violence for which he may be prosecuted in the court of the United States, namely the murder and aid of racketeering charge in count 3 of this indictment, knowingly used and carried a firearm, and in furtherance of such crime possessed a firearm and aided and abetted the use, carrying, and possession of a firearm which was brandished and discharged. So it sounds like to me that they're saying PJ Glizzy went all the way from the Bronx, from Cortland Ave, and traveled all the way to Brooklyn to kill Chii. That's what they're alleging. And if you're confused on why they would do that, how B-Love cool with Cortland and DOA, knowing that this was happening behind the scenes, this is all public knowledge. And we seen with PJ Glizzy and Sugar Hill Mel allegedly doing a Mass Sav hit, that PJ and Sugar Hill OUSMANE was a big thing in 2021, 2022. Obviously nowadays they're not seeing eye to eye, their blocks are not close, you consider them ops now. But the thing is, we've seen since PJ's been locked up, since CJ Goon's locked up, B-Dot even after OUSMANE split, they were still showing love to PJ, CJ, and Wvttz. I remember PJ, CJ, Wvttz, I think it was Sugar Hill Keem, and some other people from Sugar Hill. They was all on the phone together talking about they was in the same spot. And that was after the OUSMANE split up. So the OUSMANE split up on the outside, but on the inside, Quillen and Sugar Hill was still showing love to each other. So what does that mean? All in all, why is PJ going to Brooklyn to get C-High? And why is he with Sugar Hill Mel to do the Mass Ave hit? Allegedly, OUSMANE was still a thing. K-Flock right now is fighting the murder of Waska, who's OY, and months later you see PJ now allegedly killing C-High when Quillen and DOA haven't directly took losses from one another. So what you could say is PJ is now locked up for 2 separate murders that was allegedly OUSMANE's hits, and is now fighting for his life for a dead link up, or a link up that is no longer. And this is why people say the streets are watched, because PJ is now locked up for 2 separate murders of people that aren't directly his ops. Basically meaning he's getting back or scoring on the ops for another block, something that he didn't need to do. And finally, if you want to know what PJ is facing, the minimum and maximum if found guilty, PJ 23 of the Bronx is charged with 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, which carries a maximum term of life in prison, 1 count of murder and aid of racketeering, which carries the mandatory minimum term of life in prison or death, 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder and aid of racketeering, which carries a maximum term of 10 years in prison, and 1 count of use, carrying, and possession of a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence, which carries a minimum sentence of 10 years in prison to run consecutive to any other term imposed, and a maximum sentence of life in prison. So basically, if he takes to the trial, he's fighting for his life, and even if he cops out or pleads guilty to something for a lesser charge, he's still looking at a lot of years. And we're going to go to the reactions of people from both sides. You got Bam Moolah, who's from SB, cool with DOA. He's talking about the night CI passed away, talking about that night replays in my head all the time. Y'all don't understand, bro. When me, Dougie, and Jamira, who was CI's girlfriend at the time, was in that room, I was numb. All I could do was hug my brother and cry. Love you, CI. For every you would. Red heart, purple heart, fingers crossed emoji. And then he would post the ominous, mark my words, watch someone pay, 100 emoji, fingers crossed emoji. And then you got people showing love to PJ. First off, Chii K, PJ Glizzy's brother, saying, damn, free you, cool, washed, with 5 heartbreak emojis. Then he would post a picture of PJ's talking about he's real stand up with bandages over his heart. And then Chii K reminisce on the past, saying my friend's gone, with another 5 heartbreaking emojis. And then you got CJ Goon, who's locked up, who's going to be home in a couple years. He's doing his time up top. He just posted a simple 2 heartbreak emojis. And then you got Sugar Hill showing love, Duty Low saying free P, exclamation point emoji, 2 blood drop emojis, which 2 blood drop emojis, 2 murder charges. I don't know if that has any relevance to PJ's situation. And then you got Banger, who just came home this year, saying shaking my head, free all mine, 3 heartbreaking emojis. And it definitely looks like PJ's back's against the wall. He was already fighting a murder charge of Mass Ave, and people were saying that he should just dump the murder charge on Sugar Hill Mel because he was the driver in that, allegedly. And Sugar Hill Mel was the shooter. He could get out. But now when you're indicted by the feds, they come with a lot of evidence. And especially when you're not fighting just racketeering charges, you're fighting a murder charge, they're looking to give you everything they got. And my only opinion is the feds took almost 3 years to indict PJ by himself on this indictment. And I feel like if they had other evidence on other accomplices to this murder other than PJ, they would charge them on this indictment. But the fact that they didn't, maybe there's more to come. Maybe they got to get their evidence in order, but they had 3 years to get the evidence in order, and they could only charge PJ. And another thing is, this isn't a state indictment. This is the feds. He's going to federal prison. Not a lot of people beat the feds. If you beat the feds, it's because you copped out to a couple years in prison like Lee Drilley did. He got 5 years, and that was him selling drugs. It wasn't even a gun possession or a murder or anything violent. And now we're really going to see if Chii K still got that label money, if he's still able to pay for PJ's lawyer, because I heard he was paying for PJ's lawyer while he was fighting the Mass Ave case. But the feds is a whole different ball game. And unfortunately, PJ's gonna have to learn the hard way. And it was very interesting that NYPD, New York detectives couldn't charge PJ with the murder of CI, so they had to call the feds. And when the feds come, they usually have a lot of evidence to support their case. They're not just wasting money charging somebody with a murder that they think or is up in the air if he actually did it. They come when they know that you did this crime. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments down below. I'm gonna get up through. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Keep doing y'all. Keep doing me. Be safe. Stay dangerous. Good.